Hey guys, today I wanted to do a quick training on what we call a legacy board. Now, a legacy board is something that I first learned from my mentor, and it is a fantastic way in order to set goals that are a little bit more achievable, or ways in which we can achieve these goals quicker and easier because it allows us to see things on a grander scale, to see things in the big picture, as well as set our unconscious minds up in a way where we're directing it where we want it to go. In other words, we're allowing it to start working for us versus just having this big goal with no clear idea of how we're going to get there. Now, the legacy board, I find, is a beautiful, beautiful principle because it uses a lot of the mindset of reverse engineering. We start with our legacy in mind. So what is that big ass scary goal that scares you so much it's even sometimes difficult to say out loud, but yet your heart knows this is something that you want? Those are the type of goals we want to start looking at. And from there, we're able to start making it so it's more tangible. Now, a lot of people, when we go to set goals, we think, okay, I'm going to set a goal for 3 months from now. I'm going to set it for 6 months from now, maybe a year. And we don't dare step a toe over that 5-10 year mark because we don't know what's on the other side of that. Yet what we're doing is we're causing a little bit of vagueness within our own minds where we don't fully know where our destination is. And ultimately, we can't get where we want to go if we don't know where that destination is. Now, that's not to say that that destination isn't going to change over time. As you grow, you mature, you evolve, things are going to shift. However, we all have these beautiful kind of soul calling goals that keep coming to us. I'm sure you can agree over the last 5, 10, 20-ish years, depending on how old you are, there has been something that has been in your heart that you always kind of wanted to go towards. For some, it might be you've always known what you want to do. For others, it could be that you always knew you wanted to be a parent or have a child. And for others still, it could be that you just love some form of art or dancing or a sport, and it has been your soul's calling, and you have transferred that into something that you get to do more consistently throughout your days. For others still, like myself, it's helping people. I've always known that I was here to help people. It was just figuring out which way worked for me. And part of the legacy board allows us to really get clear on what it is those things are, knowing that no goal is too big. That wouldn't be in your heart if it was. The sky is the limit, really, when we're talking about the goals that we're wanting to set. So how a legacy board is structured is we start with the end in mind, the destination, the big scary goal. And it can be something that we know is going to take 15, 20, maybe 30 years in order to achieve it, but we're committed to going after that goal. Now, if you're in a position right now where the idea of thinking of a goal that you want 20, 30 years down the road isn't coming to mind, go out as far as you can, knowing that the more you do this, the more you're going to be able to start coming up with these goals that you truly, truly want for your life, a direction in which you want your life to go. So go out as far as you can, set that goal. Now, when you set your goal, before we talk about the reverse engineering, it's really important that we want to make them smart. Now, all of us, if you haven't heard, most of us have heard, it's a pretty common thing nowadays where we talk about setting smart goals. You hear it a lot in the business world. You hear it a lot online if you're a network marketer. If you're in any type of industry where they are setting goals out into the future for the next year or whatnot, chances are a SMART goal is not a new concept. However, there are various different ways in which SMART goals can be set. And I've heard these letters stand for different things. A lot of them are the same, however, some are kind of tweaked ever so slightly as I've gone throughout my journey. What was in my corporate setting versus a marketing setting versus a mindset setting are all different things. So I'm going to share it from the mindset side and how I use SMART goals. So you want to make your first one, you want to be specific. So you need to know what it is that you're going after. You can't have some fluffy concept that isn't really specific, or you're not telling your unconscious mind what it is that you're truly going after. The perfect example of this is if I say I want more money. Well, I could walk outside tomorrow and find a penny on the street, and my mind is going, cool, I gave her more money. Because I was not specific, saying that a penny is not the amount of money that I'm looking to achieve, my mind is assuming that I have achieved that goal and therefore is not allowing me to actively go after it. So you want to be specific in the goals that you're setting. You also want to make them measurable. So give it that quantifiable number that you can measure your success on it. Is it a 25% increase in sales revenue? Is it losing 30 pounds? Is it going on 10 dates in the next 6 months? Or whatever it may be, depending on what your goal is. You want to have it so it's measurable, so you know that you were taking the active steps towards that goal. Which leads us to the A, which is action. What are the actionable steps that you're going to take? If you don't know what actions you're going to take, a goal is not going to get us anywhere. We need to know what actions we are going to take in order to move it. So make sure that action element is present. You also want to make it responsible. So is it responsible for your highest good and the highest good of all those around you? Now, if we look at the weight loss example for say, if it's responsible for you because you're going to feel better, you're going to have less health problems, maybe you're going to have more time and energy for those that you love, you can play with your kids longer, you can show up better for your partner, then it is a responsible choice. If it is losing weight and you're already at the point where maybe it's not healthy to go any less, then it's not a responsible goal. So want to make sure that you're checking for that responsibility aspect. And then of course you want to have a timeline on it. So when are you going to achieve this goal? And that's ultimately where we can start reverse engineering. So once we know what that big goal is, and we've gotten it as smart as we can, knowing that if it's 10, 20, 30 years out, you may not have all of the details yet, and that's okay. And you just want to make sure you're getting as clear as possible. Again, our mind doesn't know the difference between now and the future. So if you're giving it vague instructions, it's going to take you in some detoured path towards what potentially might at some point give your goal. However, odds are that's not how it's going to work out. So make sure that your goals are smart. Now, once you know what the big goal is, you can start working backwards and start reverse engineering. So I'm going to use one of my examples for this because I think it is the easiest way to explain this. Now, my big scary goal is I would like to run a wellness retreat on a beach somewhere at some point in my life. Hopefully the 5-10 mark. However, I understand as things are changing in the world, I also have to be flexible and adapt, right? So with my goal of wanting to have a wellness retreat on a beach, I need to then take that goal and work backwards. So if I'm going to have a wellness retreat, what kind of services do I need to figure out that are going to be in there? I can set that goal to determine what that is. I need to start scouting locations. Where is it going to be? What beach? What section of the world am I going to have this retreat? I can look at how many staff are going to be there. How many staff am I bringing on? What kind of things are we going to specialize? Is it all mindset? Or are we going to focus on movement? See how I can work backwards and start figuring it out. I then need to make sure I've got a marketing plan in place so I can let people know. I need to determine what my expenses are going to be in order for me to run this retreat. In order to do that, I need to get more people in the know. I need to build my network of people so that I can start getting people to attend / getting people to help. Looking at vendors. How am I going to feed the people? Where are they going to stay? Is it going to be on site or something separate? How consistently would this retreat run? As you can see, the more I'm working backwards, I'm able to start getting into the nitty-gritty details that all need to line up to make this goal a reality. And that's ultimately what reverse engineering is I'm taking that big goal in mind, and that big goal doesn't necessarily have to be that big scary goal. We can start smaller to begin with, but we're breaking it down backwards. So in order for this to happen, what has to happen before that? And before that? And before that. It almost works like a staircase that we're working our way up to. And it could lead back to maybe one of the very first things that I need to do is create training videos such as this, where I share this vision with others. Maybe it is expanding my coaching business so that I'm offering more programs that would align with the stuff that the wellness retreat would have. And as you can see, we're breaking it down into smaller pieces. Let's take a little bit more of a common example, especially around this time of year. We start talking about weight loss and setting these goals going into New Year's or even into the summer months, right? So if I want to lose, say, 30 pounds, and that is the big goal, well, what do I need to do in order to get there? Well, I need to review my eating. What am I consuming? Maybe I need to download an app and start tracking the calories and what I'm putting in my body. I need to up my water intake so that I'm drinking enough water for my body and my brain to function the way it needs to every single day. I need to increase my movement. So I need to either get a gym partner, sign up for a gym, get weights, whatever it may be, in order to have that plan in place. Maybe before that, I need to talk to a trainer to discover how I can move. What type of movement is best for me? Am I more weightlifting? Do I need to do more cardio? Is it more functionable movements? And figuring out what those things are. Maybe I need to enlist my significant other, my family, and my friends so that I'm not put in this position where they're kind of peer pressuring me into having, that piece of cake or that additional glass of wine that I don't necessarily need, right? And from there, we can start breaking it down so we can see where we need to start. Now, depending on where you are and what goals you are setting, I do find platforms like Trello extremely beneficial in helping you kind of set these goals. So if you know it's going to be a year out, you can say, okay, so December I need to do this, November, October, September, and so forth, putting in one tangible thing that you can focus on every single month in order to get you to that goal. Remember, with any type of goal setting, less is more. If you try to overwhelm yourself by doing 16 things all at the same time, it's not going to work. So you need to start making small changes towards that goal to build up that consistency so it can compound over time and create that bigger results. So that is what a legacy board is. In essence, we start from the top and we work our way down, making sure that we're giving ourselves those bite-sized pieces, giving our unconscious mind that ability to go after what it is that we want without diluting it or confusing it. You need to know where you're headed in order to get there. And the legacy board is just a tool that you now have in your toolbox in order to help you set those small, bite-sized, achievable goals to get you to the grander final destination. Thank you so much for joining me today in this training. I cannot wait to hear what you got out of it. And if you have any questions, always, please feel free to reach out. I'll see you guys all soon.